Thì nay kiểu hướng em đi ăn là buồn ba thằng em
Looking to expand into Africa? Niche Partners is a market research, consulting, and strategic projects firm focused on the meetings, incentives, conference, and exhibitions industry, specializing in research and arranging business to business meetings to maximize growth opportunities in the business events industry. Covering 16 African countries in North, South, East, and West Africa, Niche Partners provides a comprehensive overview of the meetings, incentives, conference, and exhibitions industry. Our interactive African Insights dashboard provides the most comprehensive knowledge hub with the lead generation tools into 16 African countries, up-to-date requests for proposals, in-market sales representative, regular interactive online and in-person regional engagements, customized industry research reports, consolidated marketing opportunities. Finally, tailored management services in strategic planning, economic impact studies, and feasibility, and any problem our team can help you solve. Our passion is connecting our clients to Africa. We are niche partners, passionate about Africa, passionate about results.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first Branding Africa Roundtable on effective marketing strategies in Africa. My name is Ravanya Govender, and I am the project consultant at Niche Partners. I am joined by my colleagues, Londi Kumalo, our managing director, Aman Martinez, our sales and marketing support, and Victor Shabangu, our research assistant. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Today, we will explore a topic that is not only timely, but vital to the continent's future, but vital for Africa's brand visibility.
Good morning to our presenters and to our attendees, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Londi Kumalo, as Ravanya has said, and it really is good to see you all here this morning. We're looking forward to an engaging discussion on the opportunities for brand visibility in Africa. And really today's discussion is really just about providing insights into opportunities in different marketing mediums that are available on the continent.
Before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, we have a few house rules. Please make sure that your microphone and camera are off. There will be chances to interact with the questions later in the session. However, feel free to insert them into the chat. In the unlikely instance that the session ends abruptly or we experience any interruptions, please rejoin the session and give us a few minutes to resolve any issues. Without further ado, let's begin the session. So why is it important to position Africa globally? Africa is rich in natural resources, diverse cultures, and immense economic potential. Yet it has often been underrepresented or misrepresented on the global stage. Our goal today is to showcase the opportunities across different mediums that can be used to market brands in Africa. The main objective of our session is to explore effective strategies and platforms that can elevate Africa's diverse cultural, economic, and tourism potentials.
Great, but before we begin, today's session is about interaction. So it's not just about us just sharing with you about the visibility on the African continent, but it really is an opportunity for us to engage and get to know each other on the call. So we were going to break out into rooms, but I see that that is not currently switched on. So what we'll do is just allow an opportunity for everybody on the call to do a quick minute, well, not even a minute, a 60-second introduction. So I'll just read the names on the screen, and just if you can unmute your mic, you can share your screen if it's, if your face is camera ready. Otherwise, you're just welcome to unmute and go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll move just quickly across everybody. So just a quick, so don't go too far into your loves, but just go name, where you're from, and we'll then move on. So I'm going to ask Bongiwe Nzegu if you can go ahead with the first introduction.
Thanks, Londi. Bongiwe Nzegu, Head of Business Development and Support Services, South African Tourism. Looking forward to the session. Thank you.
Great. Shanna Jacobson.
Morning, everyone. I'm Shanna Jacobson. I'm the editor of Meetings Magazine and the Planner Guru. So thrilled to be here with you all. Thank you, Londi.
Great. Amanda Margison. I'm going to say surnames just because there's more than one.
Morning, everybody. Amanda Margison from Oncho Solutions, one of the owners and also founder of the newly launched Essence of Africa that'll take place in Kenya in December. Look forward to this morning's session. Thanks, Londi, for having us.
Great. Thanks, Amanda. Antuli.
Sorry, guys. Hi, my name is Antuli. I'm owner and publisher of Formal Media and the Meetings Magazine.
Great. Thanks, Antuli. Damaris.
Hello, everyone. My name is Saveta. Hi, sorry. Hi,
No,
my
please.
name is from Kenya. I work for Poland Tourism, a consultancy company that works for
Great. Great. Thanks, Damaris. Irene Costa.
Hi there, I'm Irene Costa. I'm the editor of the Business Events Africa. I've been with the publication for 21 years. I'm looking forward to the session today.
Great. Thanks, Irene. Mkunde.
Hi, my name is Mkunde Senyagwa Mushi. I work with the Arusha International Conference Center as Director of Business Services. So it used to be Director of Conferences and Marketing. I'm happy to be here and I'm all ears. Thank you.
Thanks, Mkunde. Good to see you. Mihloti.
Hi, I'm Mihloti. I'm director of my own company for the past 13 years. I'm in business leadership.
Great. Thanks, Mihloti. David.
Hey, I'm David, and I represent GlueUp in South Africa. We're a events and technology platform, and we're looking forward to chatting to you today. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, David. Misan or Misan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Serge Messin, based in Togo, West Africa, and the Sales and Marketing Director of Hôtel de Février. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Misan. Alistair.
Hi, I'm Alistair Stead from Scan Display Africa and also based in Gqeberha, so Eastern Cape representing.
Great.
Yeah, looking forward to the session.
Great. Thanks, Alistair. Andiswa.
Morning, everyone. You're speaking to Andiswa. I'm from Bloemfontein, Free State. I'm here to learn a lot from all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Andiswa. Patrick. Patrick Chidi. No. Okay. Faith Skakane.
Good morning, everyone. Faith Skakane from South African Airways. Thanks.
Great. I was gonna say, Faith, if that mic kept on mute, I'm like, that's unlike her. What happened to Faith?
So sorry, I'm at a conference, so it's quite a bit noisy. Yeah, but yeah, I'll try and thanks.
Oh, good. Good to see you, Faith. Figiswa.
Morning, everyone. Fiki Samkodombane from the Cape Town and Western Cape Convention Bureau. Thank you.
Thanks, Figiswa. Tabang.
Hi, everyone. Poised greetings from Pretoria. My name is Tabang Rapotu, and I'm the founder and managing director of Poised Solutions. And we specialize in sales representation, currently representing Leisure Days in Mauritius and Oleleshwa in Kenya and Afriski in Lesotho. I look forward to engaging with you all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Thanks, Tabang. Nice to see you. Sadie Isaacs. Ushadi. Sorry if I don't get the name correct.
It's correct. It's Sadie Isaacs. I'm from Nelson Mandela Bay Convention Bureau based in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadie. Mamau. Mamau Saune, yes.
It's Mamu Swane.
I knew I would mess some of these names up. Thank you, Mamu. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I am Mamu Swane from the Gambia, the western part of Africa. And I work for the National Tourist Board of the Gambia, responsible for communications. That is a senior officer, marketing and communications.
Great. Thank you, Mamu. Putsuma.
Morning, everyone. My name is Putuma Tole. I'm also from the Cape Town and the Western Cape Convention Bureau.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Putuma. Nice to see you. Sydney Bope.
Morning, everyone. My name is Sydney Michael Bope from MYK Graphics in Zimbabwe. We do branding and exhibition stands. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Sydney. Ellen.
Morning. I'm Ellen Westhuizen. I'm an event manager based in Gauteng, South Africa. And hello to everybody I know on this call.
Hello. You paused there at Gauteng. I was like, are you okay? Nice to see you, Ellen.
Yeah.
John.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Arvanitakis here from the beautiful Western Cape Garden Route, Mossel Bay. I am a certified event professional, the owner of Chatter Experience, and I'm also the chairperson of the Event Greening Forum in South Africa.
Great. Good to see you, John.
You too.
Thanks.
Lovely to everybody. Lovely to see you all online today.
No, great. Esther.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Esther Ndilula, and I'm from beautiful Namibia. I'm the manager of the Namibian Convention Bureau. I'm looking forward to this session. Thank you.
Great. Good, Esther. Tafadzwa.
Good morning. My name is Tafadzwa from Royal African Adventures, a destination management company based in Harare in Zimbabwe. Good to be here.
Good to see you, Tafadzwa. Mohammed.
Hi, Londi. Hi, everybody. Good morning. This is Mohammed Tanko Kwajafa, Trade Relations Manager for South African Tourism. I'm overseeing the West Africa office.
Great. Good to see you again, or hear you, because I can't see you, but to hear you, Mohammed.
Yeah, sorry, my camera is not on, so bear with me.
No, don't stress. Good to hear you.
Okay.
Farirai. Farirai, are you here?
Yes, morning everyone. Fadi Rai. I'm a certified exhibitions manager based in Beirut, Zimbabwe. Good to be here.
Good to see you, Fadi Rai. Lindy.
Hi everyone, I am Lindy from Eastern Sun Events. We are also based in Gqeberha, Port Elizabeth. It's good to see some familiar faces. Eastern Sun Events is a PCO. We manage national and international conferences and some in Africa as well. So it's really great to be here today, and I hope to learn something new.
Great. Thank you, Lindy. Nikki.
Hi, everybody. Nikki Wiedemann from Destination Mozambique. Lovely to hear some familiar faces, or hear some familiar voices, should I say. We are a representation company of the destination as well as a DMC. I'm looking forward to this morning's discussions.
Great. Thank you, Nikki. Tess.
Yeah. Hello, Londi. Nice to see you and all the other familiar faces. For those who don't know me, I actually wear far too many hats. I've got my own DMC company based in Cape Town, but we work around Africa, as you know, and also the president of SITE Africa, which is the Society for Incentive Travel, and we try to do lots of work around the continent. And great to meet new people and learn new things. Thank you, Londi.
Thanks, Tess. Good to see you. Marco.
Marshall.
You see, it's bound to happen. I apologize.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Marshall.
I'm Marshall from UN Iwin Incentives based in Johannesburg, South Africa, and good to be here. Hope to learn a lot.
Great. Thanks, Marshall. I think that's everybody. If I've missed you, you can unmute and just go for it. We will get started. Okay. Perfect. Well, I think that's that then. Over to you, Rose.
Okay, thank you everyone for your introductions. I'd now like to hand over to our sales and marketing assistant, Aman Martinez, who will provide an overview of today's session.
Thank you, Rivonia. Welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you here as we dive into today's agenda, crafted to empower you with practical tools and strategies for your brand in Africa. Today's presenters and panelists will cover the opportunity that exists in social media and the relevant platforms, the value of trade shows, and finally, harmonizing traditional and digital approaches. I would now like to introduce our first presenter, Bongiwe Nziko, who many know from South African tourism, but has also actually completed a master's in a relevant study on the impact of social media. Bongiwe Nziko is the head of business development and support services at the South African National Convention Bureau. Bongiwe holds a master's qualification in marketing, and a thesis was about the use of social media communication tools in the Cape Town area. Bongiwe is part of the Cape Town University of Technology Advisory Board for the marketing department. So Bongiwe, thank you for joining us today. Please share your screen and unmute and share with us the insights of study and how these find meaning in the MICE sector. Hi Bongiwe, can you hear me?
Yes, Aman, I can. I was just trying to load my presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, you can.
Okay. I'll get started right away. Just trying to put it in presentation mode. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen a lot of familiar faces on this call. It gives me a great pleasure to finally have a platform to share some of my findings from my study. The findings that I'm sharing this morning are particularly coming from the article that I co-wrote with Professor Duffet, who was my supervisor for this study. Because we are talking about Africa, Lundi, I thought let me just find a few fun facts that I can share with the audience this morning. I hope that next time we have this branding conference, or maybe 5 years from now, we'll have each of the 54 countries that we have on the continent. I hope that's the vision. Also, the continent is the second largest continent in the world. So it tells you about the potential for all the marketers on this call in terms of what we can do in focusing on the market. Just a fun fact I found out the other day is that as Africans, we only focus on 20% of the brands that are from the continent. So it means that there's a lot of work that we need to do so that we make sure that we drive our economy, given that we have an estimated population of 1 billion people. So if you transfer that into economic terms, I'm sure the numbers are mind-boggling. Also, the widely spoken language on the continent is Swahili. Another opportunity, I know that Amanda later on will speak about the exhibition that they're going to be doing in Kenya. But it's also another opportunity, which another finding that was quite interesting for me is that the biggest religious group on the continent is actually Islam and not Christianity. Christianity follows Islam. And I know that there's a lot of work that was done at some point within the destination to focus on halal tourism. Makes sense to me now. Normally, when I go to trade platforms, Londi, I always say that Northern Cape is the biggest province on land, but Gauteng is where the economy is driven. Likewise, with the continent, Algeria is the biggest country in terms of the land area. But more, I saw you on this call, Nigeria has the biggest population on the continent. Also, I found out that the Nile River is the longest river on the continent, with the Niger being the third longest. I hope that Faith hasn't jumped off the call yet. She said she was jumping off at 11:05. I found out that Ethiopian Airlines is the biggest airline on the continent in terms of the passengers that they are carrying, in terms of destinations that they go to, in terms of their fleet size, and the revenue. And I know that, Faith, you guys are also doing a lot of work as the national carrier on the continent now, in terms of the flights that you have. But the vision is for us to have a lot of these airlines running in the continent so that we can empower the economy. At this point in time, sometimes you have to fly out of Africa to come back to something that you're attending on the continent. So I'm going to move to the second phase of my presentation, where I'm going to quickly go through some of the findings from my study. My study was on social media. I mainly focused on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at the time. It's now known as X. So the study was a systematic review of social media and the tourism literature, as well as consumer attitude influences. So the first slide really talks. Yes.
A quick one. Are you sharing the slide presentation as well? Or you're sharing?
I'm now on gaps identified by the study. Can you see that?
Okay.
Yes.
No, perfect.
Yes.
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
That's the section I'm moving to now.
No problem. Okay, thanks.
Okay. So, firstly, we found that literature of social media marketing, communication, and attitudes on tourist attraction is quite limited. We also found that social media marketing, communication, attitudinal research on specifically cognitive, affective, and behavioral attitudes, mainly focused on college students. And most of the literature that we reviewed focused on developed countries, which is a challenge for us as Africans. We need more people in the space to research in terms of what's going on in the space. Also, one thing that I think I'll highlight from this slide is that few studies were specific to social media usage by tourist attractions on the continent. I know that AI is catching up with social media at the moment, but Facebook, for instance, is still a platform that a lot of people are using for a lot of things. So we can't write off social media, but I just think the two work hand in hand. We also found that the majority of the literature that we reviewed was from different industries, not necessarily focusing on tourism, and that a lot of them employed quantitative research as opposed to qualitative research. I've already alluded to the fact that it came from developed countries. We need to focus maybe perhaps on a bigger sample size now going forward, because we mainly focused on studies that had 100 to 400 respondents. And we found that one of the studies employed a qualitative research. So quantitative seems to be the major focus of these studies. And we also found that the numbers that I'm referencing here, colleagues, are right at the end of my presentation, because it's also partly academic. It's important for me to reference. So hence I'm referring to numbers in the presentation just for context. Also, I'd like to highlight that the majority of the literature reviewed pertaining to behavioral attitudes focused on social media advertising and communication relating to brands in general. So not a lot of information is available focusing on tourism. And some of the key conclusions that we found is that there's a need for us to examine South Africa, focusing on Facebook, X, as well as YouTube as a communication mechanism for Cape Town tourism attractions and attitudes from tourists towards this. At the time, I stayed in Cape Town, so that's why my study focused on Cape Town tourist attractions. And also there's an existing gap to investigate cognitive, affective, and behavioral attitudinal responses for those tourists that visit Cape Town. This will then give us leverage to focus on developed countries. And then also then there's a need for us to focus on research on the continent going forward. Then my last part of the presentation, I am including business events insights. I know Irene and Shana, after a while, are going to be talking to digital technologies. But in terms of what I found for incentives, destinations are always evolving. And also those that actively support the innovation are then continuing to be in demand from those planning incentives. I saw Tess on the call. And also, I spoke earlier about artificial intelligence, and business events is no different. We've started applying AI as part of doing business, especially in marketing going forward. AI also offers us the opportunity to enhance productivity and simplify tasks, as well as personalize experiences. So AI is basically changing the way we used to do things. And then I also found that delegates are looking to be immersed in experiences. I know that Tess can speak to this at large, because with incentives, you have to come out with out-of-the-box experiences to really blow these guys that are rewarded to come to the destination. So they're not really looking at just Instagrammable moments. I also found that hashtags play a crucial role in terms of driving conversations. We are hosting Meetings Africa in 2024. Hashtags are quite key in terms of driving conversations. And also social media builds rapport and nature connections. So we first start connecting on social media, but we end up meeting in person. And then just some interesting findings that are found in terms of business events when it comes to planners and corporates. It's quite interesting that social media is the second last way that influences perceptions about a destination. Meetings with destination representatives at platforms such as strategic platforms is still a way, and people still prefer to have dialogue with industry peers in order to influence their perception. And this is just some of the social media channels that influence perception of destinations. The first three is Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And then in terms of the relevance of Facebook, I spoke to it earlier on. Facebook still has a big impact in terms of influencing people going, planners specifically, to go and look for information about destinations. This talks to following the destinations pages. This talks to posts from friends. And then this also talks to private group discussions. And then if people are looking for convention and visitors bureau websites, they still look for general information on the websites. They still look for meeting space information. They still look for convention centers and meeting hotels. I'm just only going to highlight the first three. And then last but not least, something to ponder about is probably how do we go forward in 2025 and see how we're going to leverage G20 being hosted in South Africa. I think it's a huge opportunity for all of us to leverage it as much as possible, given that we're going to have these guys here on the continent and also in South Africa. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my story, and I'm sticking to it. These are just references of the work that I spoke to earlier on. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Bungiwe, for sharing your experiences and perspectives of social media. Your insights have provided us with a richer understanding of the impact of social media, and we're inspired by the expertise you bring to this field. So our next speaker in today's session is David Zimmerman. David is a seasoned sales and marketing professional with over 20 years of experience, known for his passion for personal development, community building, and creating authentic brand experiences. His career spans roles as a sales and analyst, sales and marketing manager for a leading South African e-commerce brand, manager at Africa's enterprise account executive region with GlueUp. With qualification science, David combines deep expertise in sales strategy and relationship management with a love for AI, technology, and travel, sharing valuable insights on innovation and growth across industries. So David, please unmute, share your screen, and share with us the opportunity for marketing within GlueUp.
Thank you so much, Aman, and thank you for that lovely introduction. I appreciate it. It's my absolute pleasure to be with you guys today. Thank you so much to Londi and the team for the invitation to try and share a little bit of knowledge that I've gained along the way. So yeah, Branding Africa 2024. Londi, I'm going to ask you to be my timekeeper because you know that I do love to talk. So I'm going to keep it short.
Sure.
So yeah, let's go through the presentation. All right, so I've already got an introduction that was great. Probably couldn't have done it better myself. So what I'm going to do is just ignore all the text on the screen. And I'm rather going to tell you why I'm so passionate about Africa and why I'm so passionate about the events industry, particularly within Africa. I have been in events, you know, spanning from political events to diplomatic events and corporate events, probably my entire career. And it's just, there's something special about an event or a conference that brings people together. And I think that Africa is poised to really, really capitalize on who we are as people and as Africans. But on the flip side, I do get to travel quite a bit, and I see something that's quite disappointing. We as Africans, in my opinion at the moment, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for how incredible we actually are. So I deal with customers on a daily basis that are based in sub-Saharan Africa, and the most incredible ideas and projects are coming right out of our continent. We don't need to look to the world. We've got it right here. So that is just a little bit about why I'm so passionate about the industry. And I'm going to quickly tell you what we're going to be looking through today. So the scope of the presentation is, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the organization I work for, which is GlueUp. I've titled it a tech stack for Africa. I'm going to explain how it is sort of uniquely positioned within the African landscape. We're going to look at network building within this space as well. Brand visibility and awareness that can be facilitated through a platform like GlueUp. And then I'm going to take you through a case study. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about a customer. I have changed their name for poppy reasons. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about who they are, what they do, the kind of industry support that we supply, and the kind of partnerships that we enter into with these kind of key customers in the regions that we serve. And then we're going to look at the various success frameworks which we have in place, particularly for the African continent. Wherever you work in the world, as you guys know, you need to be very culturally sensitive, and you need to have a different approach for every market that you're entering into. So that's what we're going to cover today. And I will quickly move to the next slide. So about GlueUp, just very, very quickly, we're a cloud-based software provider. We are quite, excuse the pun, niched. I'm speaking at a niche partner event, but we're quite niched in the sense that we have a pretty particular market that we serve, and that is primarily the association, membership-based organizations, and eventing markets. Although our product can be used in various other instances as well. So we've been around for over 12 years. We are a US-based organization. However, we have got a local footprint in Africa, in South Africa, and that sets us apart, where our customer service is happening in the same time zone as our clients. So we really have got a really cool event solution for event planners, organizers, conference organizers, venues, etc., that they can use to really showcase their venue, showcase their clients' abilities, and really put their countries even on the map. And we'll look at that a little bit later in terms of the case study that I'm going to show you. So like I said, membership and event management services. We've got really cool networking tools as well, which we'll touch on. We have got a communication and community hub, which will tie into how we actually brand and market these organizations. We've obviously got multi-language support, fully customizable platform as well. It's mobile focused. Something that I obviously looked at now in my recent research as well is that Africa is so dependent on mobile technology. Some homes don't, unfortunately, in this day and age, still have running water, but they do have mobile phones. So the mobile phone access is so important. It's a lifeline to Africans around the world. And we are obviously using that as a route to market for our product. It's fully integration ready, so we work with other softwares as well. And the nice thing about it is it's scalable. So particularly for the African context, you know, things could sometimes be a little bit more expensive than what we'd like it to be. But with GlueUp, we work on a scalable solution that can grow as your organization grows. So it's quite nice to be able to work with a partner like that you can trust to bill you correctly. Okay, so strategic networking building. So we build networks within our regions with various different venues, various different associations, societies, etc. And we work with them as partners to be able to take the product to the people. And essentially, we collaborate with them, we create partnership agreements, and we find a plan that would work for the specific individual company that we're working with. How we do this is we've got a centralized networking platform, and that is where you're going to be able to get all of these individuals that, like yourselves, are industry experts and leaders, but you'd be able to use our platform to basically connect and to get to know each other, communicate. And most of you probably already use GlueUp in some of the associations that you belong to already. We have got matchmaking and sponsorship technology within our tech stack as well. So the matchmaking is great. We've got a really cool product which will basically pair you with an attendee on a webinar based on certain criteria that the AI learns about you. It's going to pair you with someone that's going to give you engaging conversation, that's someone that you can learn something from and really enjoy that conversation, as well as sponsorship technology as well, to be able to track sponsorships and opportunities within a specific pipeline. And then community building. Community is huge in Africa. Ubuntu, I mean, we all know it. It is all about community. So we have got a special space and product called Communities, and it is almost like a closed loop social media platform for our clients. What's nice about that is that the data stays within the platform. It stays your IP. And your data security is 100% better than having it on a third-party social media app platform. There's obviously space for both. We are just finding that with stricter GDPR and POPI laws with regards to privacy, people are, especially associations that are dealing with sensitive information, are moving towards closed-loop environments like our community products. All right, so how can we help our customers enhance their brand visibility and awareness in the market? So we've got a few strategies which we use, and I'll go through those real quick. So within our platform, you can have full creative license. So it's custom branding from your color scheme to your corporate CI. Everything is adaptable from your campaigns to the event websites, etc. Completely customizable within your branding guidelines. Like I said, sponsorship opportunities and tracking. One of the biggest ways that organizations in Africa are actually growing and succeeding is by attracting sponsorship from corporates. And what our platform allows these organizations to do is to be able to sell sponsorship effectively through various avenues like ad space, etc. And then also give detailed analytics to those sponsors down the line to be able to prove ROI and then hopefully secure that sponsorship for the next quarter as well. Email marketing, push notifications, and ad space. Like I said, big push towards mobile use within Africa. We have got a mobile app that employs push notification technology as well. So we really can communicate with the audience wherever they are. And we see that a lot of people internationally are moving towards communicating with their customers where they are. You need to have a multi-channel approach. You can't just rely on a WhatsApp. You can't just rely on email. You need to have a multi-channel approach to communication. And speaking to that then as well, obviously the community aspect and the multi-channel approach. You can advertise your events, for instance, push directly from our platform to various external social media platforms. It will be tailored to the destination platform's specifications. You don't need to go and repost. It's all sort of working together in an all-in-one solution. So really, really easy and effective ways of enhancing your brand visibility. All right, so we're going to look at a very quick case study. I have affectionately called this customer ABC International. It seemed appropriate. So from Lusaka to the world, this local event company had to pivot very, very quickly after the pandemic. As we all know, I don't even like to use the COVID word anymore because it gives me cold chills, but we know that it sent ripples throughout the entire industry. So ABC International had to pivot really, really quickly. They were not using tech as much as they could have before, but what it's done is it's allowed them to really provide a world-class solution to visitors to their country, obviously Zambia, and providing great world-class conference and exhibition experiences to their guests. So if we look at the kind of partnership, so we're going to look at the partnership in terms of ABC International, right? So like I said, before coronavirus, they were not using technology. They were mainly in physical events. They had to then obviously, combat what was happening in terms of, I like to call it, conference fatigue. We all jump on a plane and we get to a conference and we get on another plane, we get to another conference, etc., etc., etc. And there is such a thing that we're finding is called conference fatigue. So people are needing to do things differently. And in terms of that experiential piece that we spoke about earlier, people are trying new things and new technologies to try and entice people to attend these events and to enjoy them on a different level that they maybe haven't experienced before. So we now partner with ABC International. So they are an official partner of Igluap in the region, and they offer a full turnkey solution in the region for us. It's great to have this kind of partnership because, like I said, in Africa, we need to have a very strong cultural sensitivity, and every country in Africa, every country around the world is different, but particularly in Africa, from one country to the next, there are different ways of doing things, different practices and cultures. So it's nice to be able to work with local event organizers and professionals to really tailor the package to what would work for their region. So very quickly, a year in review. So a couple of years later, after they implemented, they have since done 10 plus major conferences in 1 year. They've facilitated over 200 speakers, 400 exhibitors, and over 20,000 attendees at their largest events. And they have reached 42 countries to date, and they're growing. So we're really excited about their progress. And it's, you know, GlueUp had a small part to play in it, but it's largely because they've got that African tenacity. And I think that that's what I spoke about earlier. You know, we really have something special on our continent. All right, so how do we have a framework for success in terms of the way we support our clients and the people that use our product? So we need to look at the market very differently and through a specific lens. So I've got a few points here which I'm going to explain to you. So being an American product, obviously, we are in Africa. We are not using the US dollar in many of the countries, and also the exchange rate can be quite volatile at times. So what we've got a flexible pricing model, and we create customized plans based on what the clients need and based on what they need at the time, with scalability built into those agreements. So you might be hosting 1 or 2 events this year, but you know, next year you're going to have exponential growth and you're doing 20 events. We build that into the agreement so that you can start off small and not have this massive financial burden on you. But as your organization grows and your events become more successful and more profitable, you can grow with the platform into more products. Very important in terms of our region is we've got a very intuitive interface. It's very user-friendly. And what we found is that because it's so easy to navigate, it has really reduced the learning curve for onboarding new users. So you've got an event team, you know, you don't have the time to spend 2 months training in order to launch an event and to send out RSVPs and how to print badges on site and scanning, etc., etc. So our platform is really simple to use, and you know, from that understanding perspective, very, very easy to onboard. And then very importantly, on this point, like I mentioned earlier, we've got localized support. Africans understand Africans. So when there's a problem, and inevitably in our industry, in events, there are always problems, things creep up and the unexpected happens. So when there is potentially a problem, you can rest assured that there's someone within your region that's going to be able to understand your problem innately and be able to help you really, really quickly and solve those problems within your time zone. So that's really how we tackle Africa in it by itself, but together with the rest of the regions around the world that we serve. We do operate in 70 territories around the world, but as you can tell, Africa has got a very special place in my heart. So in conclusion, we've looked at GlueUp as a tech stack which is specifically focused on African growth, how we build networks within Africa, how you can increase your brand visibility and awareness. I've taken you through a very quick case study and how we are able to support and partner with organizations that would like to use the product, and then also the kind of views that we take in terms of success models and frameworks to implement these systems in Africa. And very much like one of my favorite animals on the continent, GlueUp is, yes, we're a large company, we are a tech giant, but you will not meet better people. And you know, we're very, very excited to be able to showcase our product and to work with your organizations and the industry. And we hope to leave a lasting impression on you guys going forward. So If you are interested in learning more, if anything resonated with you and you'd like to meet with me, you can scan the QR code real quick. It'll take you to my booking page on my calendar, and you'll see when I'm available and when I'm not, and just book a time that works for you. Alternatively, contact me in any way that you like. And from me and from GlueUp, thank you so much to Londi and to the team, and thank you to all the participants today. Thank you.
Thank you for that insightful presentation, David. It's given us a deeper understanding and valuable perspectives that will help shape our thinking about the opportunity to use technology to enhance marketing. So I would now like to hand over to Adi, who will facilitate the upcoming.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much for helping us with those insights in terms of technology. I think that is quite an important thing. And it's true that what you said is there's African homes with no water, but where we are in society now is that we all have phones. So the continent is digitally connected. And so it is an opportunity for us to leverage that. But yeah, I'd like to now start and introduce our first panel, which is around the digital marketing in the media space. So I'd like to invite Shanna Jacobson and Irene Costa to unmute and share your screen so that we can see you. Just for us to have a discussion around the opportunity within digital media and what you ladies have seen. As you do that, let me give a bit of an overview of who they are, what they've been up to. So Irene Costa is a seasoned media professional. She's been in this industry for over 27 years and has basically began her career as a journalist in 1998. Irene has a deep understanding of the hospitality, the tourism, and the business event sectors. And her journalistic integrity actually has seen her win an award this year, the Godfrey King Award at SARKI, this year. And Irene is well regarded as understanding the industry's issues with clarity and insight. And so it is really a pleasure to have you join the panel this morning, Irene. So thank you for joining. And
thank you so much, Londi.
And then there's Shanna Jacobson, who also is passionate about content creation. Shanna has been in the industry for 17 years. She is the editor of Meetings, and she too is passionate about data and analysis, and is a devoted mother. She included a devoted mother and loves to look at ways to seek to change the world. So these two ladies are involved in Africa. You're involved, both of you, in the digital marketing and traditional marketing, and you've seen the changes over the years. So we'd love to hear from you, just in terms of your experience over the last couple of years, what you've seen as the changes in digital media and the opportunities over the last couple of years. And maybe Irene, I'll start with you with that question.
100%. So the magazine's been in existence for 44 years. So that's a long time. I mean, this is before business events was even a term. I came out from the tourism side, and people weren't sure people were going to meet. And my founder, Godfrey King, actually, he had a plan. He saw something coming. And over the years, business events is actually only really started to take form in the 90s, when we started to see ICCs being built, International Convention Centers. And the actual first one was Durban International Convention Center. So that was not that long ago. In 1997 was the first International Convention Center in South Africa. So Africa has slowly, over the last 5 years, picked up the pace. South Africa is now one of the global players in this sector. So it's been very interesting. And of course, the marketing has changed over the years, because initially it was all print-based and there was no digital all those years ago. Digital has crept in and it's taken over, quite frankly. But and social media, first it was emails, and then we all grew from there to where we are now with all the social media offering. However, Shanna and I were chatting about this just before a few days ago. Social media is fantastic, and it gets the profile out, the brand out. However, it's more important that people understand what is the message that they want to offer and what is the purpose of having the social media presence. So I'll leave it at that so Shanna can also share her view on this.
Thanks, Irene. Yeah, Shanna, you can give us insights from your experience on the meeting side, just around the opportunities, the changes that you've seen in the digital media space, also traditional media. So feel free to just go in and just share that from your one. Shanna's still here.
Did she fall off? I can go. I'll speak while Shanna's getting back on. So in terms of what I've seen, social media is great for the quick promotion. So Facebook is still very much a big thing in Africa. Oh, shame. Shanna's power just went off. She just sent a message. Apologies for that. Sorry. She'll try her best to get back on. So we find that Facebook is still very preferred on the African continent. It's dying in a lot of the other countries, like the Western countries. So Facebook is big. Instagram is also not, people like to see themselves, pictures are good. TikTok, it's not for our sector. LinkedIn is more for our sector as well, because LinkedIn also provides a platform for education and training where people can offer opinions and experiences. So LinkedIn is actually, I think, the most important one for us in our African market, because it opens up opportunities to start conversations. So I think LinkedIn is something that people don't speak a lot about, but it's the professional social media platform. And it's something that people should be looking at doing more of, but that requires more thought leadership. So it's not just putting a little ad or a little brand thing there, because that's not going to work. So you actually have to be able to engage with your people. Welcome back, Shanna.
Sorry about that. My power just went off at home. So thank goodness I've got one of these little guys.
No problem. Good. Welcome back. We were just still on that point. Just maybe just to sort of capture what Irene said is in terms of our current market. So you've got LinkedIn, you've got Instagram, and not so much TikTok. And traditional media, Irene, you started at the beginning, but you didn't say too much about the change. So what's the balance? What would you say is currently the balance of use?
As David was saying, I think it's important to have a multi-spectrum campaign.
Absolutely.
So with us, we no longer print our publication, for instance, for many reasons, sustainability being one of them. So we are now a digital publication. So we don't actually have a physical copy. But what the beauty of a magazine is, it allows for in-depth features and where people can also have feedback, and we can do big case studies and things like that. So I don't think that will ever disappear, because I think you have to have that. And then you've got to be able to back it up with your social media. But that's the whole thing. It's the message. What is it that you are trying to do? Don't just go in there and just like, let me just put my brand here, there, everywhere. But there's no real reason for it, because you're not going to gain anything from it. You're actually wasting your money. So you need to make use of the various platforms, from the digital magazine to the different social media offering. Shanna, do you agree with?
Yeah, absolutely. To your point, Irene, I mean, you know, if we had to look at marketing as a concept, what is it about? It's about being seen by the right person in the right place at the right time. And, you know, unfortunately, a spray and pray approach is never going to work, especially for our market. So being intentional about what you're putting out there and knowing who it's going to be received by and how it's going to land is quite key, because if you want to develop outcomes, then you need to have your finger on the pulse. Like, why do we love digital and why do we love social media so much? I was thinking about it. You know, from a marketer's perspective, you've got the analytics, you've got the engagement, so you can see how people are responding to the message that you're putting out there. If it doesn't work, then you tweak it. Unfortunately, when it comes to a product like print, it's very difficult to know where exactly each and every single copy is going. However, I do feel quite strongly about the fact that there is value in a print product, especially if it's something that you're carrying around at an event. People love that tangibility. And if we are looking at an industry like, our particular trade, we are people who market to people. It's not so much about the brand, but the value that you can derive from that particular relationship. So, going to trade shows and being seen and finding those people who you can connect with and really build a relationship with so that you can support each other in this ecosystem is quite key. So that's my take on, the value of digital strategies in a market like ours.
And maybe just to come into something that you've both kind of said is around spray and pray. I'm going to use your words, Shanna. And Irene, you said a similar thing where it's about the story, the overarching story of everything speaking to everything. Is that something that you're finding that we are doing as an industry? And maybe if you were to narrow it as the digital media experts, what would it look like for a business to sort of sit down and go, okay, what is it that if I just focus on these two things, and I mean, I'm sure I'm making it very simple because you're sitting here like that's not going to be as simple. But if it was just narrowed down to two things that would be, what, in terms of how to narrow that, so you're not spraying and praying, what should I be thinking about first in terms of a strategy? And then the second thing, obviously there's the medium, but what should I be thinking about primarily?
If I can go first, Shanna, is that okay?
Yeah, go first.
So the more I think about it, people buy from people. And in Africa, on our continent, we are very much about relationships and people are buying from people. So I think key is identifying someone in your team that you would like to be the face, if you like. So that would be one of my approaches. Then you get that person to have an opinion piece on like LinkedIn, and then you take that and maybe you touch on a campaign that you're running, be it at your actual city that you're doing a big campaign. Then you start to push that because the message is already on, in that LinkedIn thought leadership piece. And then you start to put it through into your Facebook posts and all of that, because then it all comes together. So that's one approach that I would take. And Shanna, do you have another one that you think they should be looking at?
If we were to look at a complete campaign, engaging with, if it were a client, for instance, who is a venue, we look at, what are the draw cards? What is your why? Why would people want to come to your venue? And especially in a market like, meetings and events. We're not suddenly going to start banging on about how it's a great venue for your kids and family to go to. That messaging needs to be done so carefully. So that's your starting point, really, is to unpack what your message needs to look like, who it's going to be received by, and what outcome do you actually want to achieve? What is your call to action? Do you want to raise awareness? Do you want people to buy and come, and whatever it is that you're selling? Is it I'm so sorry. Is it a sales pitch? Or is it just to say that we're here? So once you've got that right, then you can start looking at what platforms and what digital assets you have available to you. Web, yes, absolutely. And if you want to drive web traffic, then a great plug to that is, of course, social media. Who do you want the message to be seen by? Who are you talking to? Tag people, guys. It is such an easy, effective strategy to build your organic growth. And as Bongiwe says, hashtags. Hashtags are valuable because people also search according to hashtags. And that is the value. We've had a lot of clients in the past who don't really see value in it, but I would say that it's something that you should pay attention to, especially if you're looking to leverage your message. and then identifying the platforms that are right for you. So, you know, I think putting something on Instagram that is, you know, very in-depth, analytical, not going to work.
No.
LinkedIn for longer form, thought leadership, great. Facebook seems to be a very popular catch-all. And in Africa in particular, if we are Africans marketing to Africans, it's a good one. Also, what we found from our own digital campaigns that we've run on behalf of clients and even for ourselves, you know, doing a push for whatever publication or article, is that if you look at the targeting on Facebook, you can really refine it. And we have executed on some stellar campaigns for some of our clients and our partners on the continent. So that is also something to bear in mind when you do like a boosting of a Facebook post. Guys, sometimes it can be really randomized. You know, pay attention to the detail, because we were about to go live with a boosted campaign a couple of years ago where the targeting, it was a spray and pray. They're trying to go as broad as possible, but that's not always the quality and the type of audience that you want to reach. So, you know, we don't necessarily want to speak to people who are interested in Nespresso and soccer. We want to get to people who are planners, who are organizers. And also, the one aspect that I wanted to touch on within this is that we are part of a very broad ecosystem. So think broadly in terms of who might see value in your message. And that's how I would say you can build an effective campaign and be at, you know, top of mind with people. Irritate them, make sure that they know about you. The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
No, great. I love it. And you know what? Both of you are touching on things that it's interesting. A lot of us, we are in mice, so we deal with people often. But then when it comes down to our messaging, like Irene, you mentioned the thought leadership, the people in the message, and how do you use that? Because it's true, as Africa, we're quite communal. So people buy people and relationships. And so that should be part of what it is that we are communicating. And
experiences, you know, experience. I think that, you know, that immersion and, you know, really getting to the heart of what this individual, what this supplier, what this venue is about is it. Yeah.
And touching on experiences, I mean, from a leisure perspective, we've got all the TripAdvisors and Expedia and whatever, where we've got reviews. From our sector, I was actually like researching a little bit. We don't seem to have any of that. So that's another interesting one, because again, people can talk about their experiences at a conference or, you know, so there's an opportunity for someone to be doing those platforms. I don't know if I've missed it, and somebody on our chat today can maybe tell me, but I think that's also important, because if you're going on holiday, what is the first thing you do? You're going to book a place, you're going to go quickly and see if there's any reviews on that place. And then you decide. We're not doing it from a business events perspective, but there's definitely an opportunity to move that way too. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
No, fantastic.
Lovely idea, Irene. I might pinch that.
There we go.
Yeah, so I love the comment. There's a comment, because I was going to open to just asking if there are any comments, questions, before we bring in the trade show conversation. Adrian, do you want to unmute? Hi, Adrian. You can unmute and go ahead and make your comment or question. And anybody else, if you want, you could just put it in the chat or raise your hand, and I'll just go into the chat. It is meant to be more of a conversation than
hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Go for it.
Look, there's a familiar face.
I've been attending quite a lot, I mean, as we probably all have, around the different AI tools and the absolute speed that the customization of AI, not only in terms of language and the detailed customization in terms of sectoral depth that AI will be able to provide. So first and foremost, obviously, like with most media, there's the risk of repositioning traditional media in terms of that. But the role for the AI in terms of client development, membership development, I think, I mean, it's not so much a question as it is a statement that we will definitely within the association space will need to understand the deeper depth of AI in terms of growing membership and value. And that will inevitably will have a impact on the way we advertise, communicate, etc., etc. So that it's more of a statement, but I would love to have your comments. So then the second part of it is also, I was actually on a session yesterday where the conversation around generational change, and I mean, even though our generation is a very kind of a LinkedIn traditional platform, what are your thoughts in terms of like with what a lot of associations are struggling with is reaching younger members. Now, younger members might want to communicate differently. They might be the TikTok generation, or heaven forbid, anything new that will come out in another 2 years. So obviously, the question is a little bit about your thoughts on generational shift in communication, and then yeah. So.
Can I take this one first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go.
Thanks, Adrian. And I think, yes, you know, very accurate observations there. And it is a challenge that we are seeing across the board. You know, like Irene, I come from a traditional print background. So the adjustment to digital has been a very interesting transition where, you know, in the beginning, it was a nice to have, you know, like, oh, yes, we should definitely have a LinkedIn page and a Facebook page for our business. Now it's an absolute essential. We can't get away without having it. And, you know, in terms of news consumption, I was also reading a little bit of stats on preferences. You know, what are the most sort of reliable, if I can say that, platforms for our audience to consume news? And, you know, leading the pack is actually social media. Closely behind that is TV. You know, the rest kind of, it does a downward slope on the other aspects of media. So it is an experience in terms of our education that has been done very much on the fly. You know, for a lot of us in a position like Irene and myself are, this is not something that we grew up with. It's something that we are having to learn about, and something that we're having to adjust and incorporate into, you know, our workflows and our strategies. You know, as for TikTok, you know, it's something that I've not really been able to wrap my head around. But yes, you know, it is, you know, if I had to look at some of the interns that have worked under me, they're big on TikTok. That is the way that they consume media. It's the way that they absorb news. It's how they sort of start identifying trends. And it is a very powerful platform. I would say that the only way that we're going to get this right is to continue to have our fingers on the pulse in terms of where those trends really are. You know, we can all internet. We all consume news. We all read. So, you know, our ability to be able to derive insights and then apply them to what we do is what is really going to set us apart going forward.
Thanks, Shan. Irene, we have a minute. We need to give the opportunity. So, Irene, just your last.
Yeah, I've got two teenagers. One's just turned 18 and the other one just turned 15. And their concentration span is tiny. They don't really want to watch movies anymore, which puzzles me because I grew up in a generation we'd go to movies and it would be so much fun. So we've got to think TikTok does speak to them because it's something quick and easy, but we've got to find a way to professionalize it so it doesn't look like this. But so we've got to bring some of our traditional stuff to now. So I think there are ways to do that, and there might be another platform that will combine both. So it might be something else. But TikTok is definitely, as Shanna said, something quite big for the new generation coming through. Thank you.
No, thanks, ladies. Dave, 60 seconds to weigh in, and then we have to move to the trade shows.
Quick. No, absolutely. So just, I think the ladies spoke to the piece about the generational change perfectly, and I agree completely. Just in terms of the role of AI in particularly the association space, Adrian, we have been selected to be part of the NVIDIA Inception program in California, and we're the only AMS that is currently employing AI in our strategic planning. What I'd like to say there is that we just don't know enough about it yet. And that is why we need to keep on attending things like this, learning as much as we can, and really just taking all those feedbacks and closing the loops. I think we're still going to see a big impact through getting younger members into associations through AI. So that was just my piece on that, Londi. Thanks.
Thank you.
No, great. This has been great. Like Amanda said there in the chat, this could be like a whole session on its own, just around the digital media, the AI. So thank you very much, Irene, Shanna, David, Bongiwe. So we're going to move over now to trade shows. We will come back.
Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, you're not signing off.
No, just
it's your
face.
power. Okay, great. Okay, so let me introduce our next discussion around trade shows. So I'd like to invite Amanda Margerson just to unmute and share screen, and as well as Damaris Kavite, who's from Pulante Tourism. And as they do that, let me give a bit of a background on these two ladies. So Damaris Kavite is from Pulante Tourism. She's the public relations professional. She's a public relations professional who basically is based in Kenya, but does the Kenya-Uganda Expo. And she basically has been involved in this in public relations for several years. Her passion is public relations as well as marketing. So welcome, Damaris. And then we've got Amanda Margerson, who is also passionate about expos, and Amanda is from Onshow Solutions. She is the founder of Essence of Africa and is basically involved in several different trade shows and shows. So Amanda, Onshow Solutions does events in 5 continents: Africa, Asia, Australia, Europe, and North America. So she's always on the go. She's traveling again. But welcome to you both. Let me just make sure that I can see you on the screen to get you up so that we can have this discussion. Hi, Amanda. And maybe I'll start with you, actually, to just give us a bit of an overview in terms of your exhibitions, and especially the role of exhibitions in Africa and marketing overall. So just give us your initial thoughts about the work from your perspective on Onshow Solutions.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Hi, everyone. It's really nice to be here today and also just to see some familiar faces that we've worked with over the years. I've also worn very many different hats and enjoyed the space of leisure and MICE tourism. We were fortunate enough to organize Indaba and Meetings Africa, and gave us a good cross-section of both of the industries from a business and from a leisure point of view. But as I said at the moment, Onshow Solutions' signature brand is Africa Showcase, which is an international roadshow brand. As I said, business based in South Africa, but very rarely here. I do travel a lot, and we host the international roadshows around the world, covering most of Europe, covering America, into Asia. We do a little bit in Africa, and that is actually why we launched the Essence of Africa, to bring a lot of this international business back to Africa, and decided to put it up in East Africa because there is a huge need for business up in further parts of Africa, and the southern parts of Africa have got a lot of events and exhibitions and trade shows and meetings that take place down in the southern part of Africa. So I think just for me, I started my business in 2007. I've been in the exhibition industry, dare I say, for 30 years this year, and I've been involved in tourism for 20. So my first Indaba was 2003. we ran the international tourism pavilions for SA Tourism. And I think that's where I got to know many of you and created long-standing relationships and friendships from there. We went on to organizing Meetings Africa for a long time as our own standalone business in a partnership with Scan Display, and then went into East Africa with the Magical Kenya Travel Expo, which was for nearly 7 years with the break of COVID in between. We also do a lot of niche events, whether it be gala dinners or golf days or tourism roadshows in country for a lot of the East Africans coming into South Africa to do business on this side. So we do it on both sides. For the Southern Americans coming in to do business here with South Africa, so Chile, Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, they want to come and do business with the South African trade. So that was also a very interesting space for us, and we did it for many years. For taking the tourism boards into countries. So, for example, Botswana coming into Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town, focusing their business in South Africa. Namibia Tourism doing the same. So we have really focused on tourism as our key for probably the last 20 years. I love traveling. I love tourism. We've got a really good base. My business partner is, very passionate about business to international marketing elements. And we both have different strengths in terms of what we focus on and how Jackie and I run our business. So a lot of the stuff that I think Irene and Shannon were chatting about on the digital platform is important for our business as it is. Social media has been a big part of the growth of our business. And I think as all of you say, oh, I've seen you on the road, I've seen you in America, I've seen you wherever. That's all due to the social media. And I think a big part of our growth and probably the positive side of social media has given us the benefit to expose what we do to a much wider audience than what would have happened maybe 20 years ago. So yeah, OnShow's created a family, and I think a lot of the people that do travel with us have become part of this wider family. We like to make it easy for the exhibitors to be able to engage and work within the spaces, but also give them guidance and strategy planning in terms of what they would do to travel with us. One size doesn't fit all. Key markets are different for every country, for every region, for every product. We're not selling a representation agency where I would offer to represent your company. You guys know your products better than anybody. And it's important that you have a traveler that comes with you and that you have the right person marketing your product. You can spend all the money in the world. You can travel with us all over the place. But if you're not actually doing the right steps to make sure that your business is in the right places and that you are doing the right follow-ups, it's a complete waste of money. And I would rather say to you, don't travel with us if you're not able to focus on maybe a 3-year plan in the America market. You get shorter returns from different markets. And, these are all the elements and aspects that we would take somebody through when they're wanting to join Africa Showcase. And I can tell you what products are better received in places or what the market insights are in terms of what they're looking for. So yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it other than just positioning ourselves as an international marketing company and having Africa Showcase as a brand. We take a limited amount of exhibitors with us when we travel, depending on where we go, just depending on what the market needs are. So most of the road shows, we take 20 to 25 exhibitors. Some of the destinations we can't take tour operators, and that's history in terms of what they're looking for in the country. And we're not going to just take 20 operators with us. We won't get the attendance at the events. I can go through that a little bit more when we talk about challenges. But yeah, from an overview point of view, it's just been exciting. I've really loved what I've done over 20 years, and you have to love what you do in this industry. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to keep up with the pace that we move. So yeah, I have a fantastic business partner and I've got a fantastic team, and that's how we keep going. So yeah.
No, great. And Amanda, just another question. I'll jump over to Damaris quickly, but I want to quickly, just to put in your thinking while I jump over, is around within a trade show, the value that you see of that medium versus potentially other mediums, you know, of attending a trade show, of being on a road show, just from your experience? So I'm going to leave you with that question. I'll jump over and then I'll come back to you.
Okay, perfect.
Great. Damaris, so you have been involved in the Uganda-Kenya Expo. Share with us a little bit of an overview of what's been happening on your side, especially in terms of the marketing benefits and opportunities that you're seeing in that market.
So thank you, Londi. As I said in the introduction part, my name is Damaris Kavete and work for Holland Tourism. Holland Tourism has been, for like the last 2-3 years, we've been the market destination representative for Ugandan Tourism Board. That is just trying to look to generate awareness and foster partnerships around the Ugandan tourism, the Uganda destination. So just to talk a little bit about the Uganda-Kenya Coast Tourism Expo, this is an event that happens annually, organized by the Consulate General of the Republic of Uganda in Mombasa. We've been working closely with this, as I'm telling you, we have been the market destination representatives for Ugandan Tourism Board. So the concept behind this expo is usually to promote complementarity between tourism products within the two countries. You know, what is offered by the Kenyan Tourism Coast, maybe the beaches, and then Uganda, the adventure part of it, like and wildlife, like gorilla trekking. So what the organizers of this trade show did, and what they tried to leverage on, is the complementarity between what is offered by the Ugandan tourism and what is offered in the Kenyan tourism. So this has seen the number of tourists grow, and it is something that has really is really marketing the two regions as a single travel circuit, as a single destination circuit. So I'll talk more about what are the successes and maybe the lessons learned, and maybe what we can pick from that. Thank you.
No, great. And Amanda, maybe just answering that question in terms of the value then on the trade show floor that you see uniquely offered by trade shows versus, say, any other medium.
Well, I think, you know, and dare I go back to COVID, I think we all reverted to a digital space in COVID. That is how everybody really became experts at Zoom or Teams, you know. We all had to continue with business as we could to keep our businesses going. Zoom became, you know, the new buzzword. And I think everybody very quickly got onto digital events and creating these platforms of Zoom meetings. I think in the exhibition space, and this has gone back a long time, is that would there be the end of trade shows, and were we seeing a decline in terms of possible trade shows? But I think very quickly as 2021 approached, we all knew we were desperate to see people again. And I think Irene alluded to it, is that people buy from people. And I think the uniqueness of a trade event is that you get to meet the people you've been talking to on the phone or dealing with for many, many years. You'll meet the CEO of the office, you'll meet the salesperson, you'll meet the, you know, tourist guides that are possibly on the ground, that are dealing with day-to-day real issues with your clients. But, you know, most importantly is that everybody wanted to get back to traveling. Everybody wanted to get back out there. We were so excited when we could get back to, you know, our first Indaba, first Meetings Africa. I think also, you know, Bongi had mentioned experiences are key. Is that, yes, you can sell Mauritius, for example. It's a beautiful destination. The pictures look fantastic, but until you've actually been and you've experienced it yourself, you are not going to be the best seller for that product. So, you know, one of the unique elements that we've added to the show, Essence of Africa, is that although it is based in Kenya, we are offering fam trips basically around the region. So anywhere in Africa, any of the exhibitors that are exhibiting at Essence of Africa can host any of the international buyers. We've got, you know, trips going to Madagascar. There's some going up into Uganda. You know, they're going to see the gorillas, which is fantastic. There was a Westgrow Cape Town combination trip that was also offered to the international delegates, Vic Falls, Zambia, and that is really unique. It's a real USP for this event, because if you are doing Indaba, you get to do tours in South Africa. If you're doing Magical Kenya, you get to choose something in Kenya, as is the government pays for the event, and that is what their mandate is in terms of putting on Indaba. You are selling South Africa. So it's been very unique for us to be able to offer this as a privately owned event. And I think, you know, contributing to local impact and sustainability and supporting the environment that you're in, we are focusing on what we can put back into the region. We take a lot of exhibitors internationally, and the reason we do it is so that they can get to experience the culture of the Latin Americans that they're selling to, that they understand when they talk about traffic, that, you know, it's not Cape Town traffic, it's not Johannesburg traffic. You're sitting in the middle of Brazil or Mexico and you actually don't move. Whether it be your underground transport or your airlift between the destinations, how big the airports are, the language barriers. There's a lot of cultural elements that you need to think about when you're selling to those countries. And what we think might be really easy as Africans are completely different challenges in Europe or in America. And one thing that pops up often with America is that they don't use WhatsApp. You know, you can send 1 million WhatsApps to Americans and you might, you know, get a few answers back because they don't use WhatsApp. It's a cultural thing. They use SMS. And I you know, I don't know when last I used SMS, but it's those sorts of nuances that you need to be aware of. You know, not every show fits every single product. As I said, you've got to find out what are your key markets that are going to work for you and rather focus your budget there and spend your budget in the markets that are relevant for your business. Otherwise, you're wasting your money. So, you know, there's value for all of the products depending on what they're looking at. And if they don't have an international marketing plan, you know, they need to look at the domestic shows. So there's a variety of trade shows on offer. I think key is working out what is your business first and foremost. Does your business fit the trade show that you are wanting to be at? And then who is your audience and who are you marketing to? And also make sure that you've got the right people on the stand. You know, your receptionist in the office is not necessarily your best person to put on the stand. And I do a lot of exhibition training, or should I say I did a lot of exhibition training. The amount of companies that think the receptionist is going to be the best person to put on your stand floors me. I don't understand. I really don't understand why they would do that. They're spending a lot of money to put up this beautiful exhibition stand, and then they don't plan for the staffing of the stand. So, you know, there's a lot of elements that people need to think about, and it's a lot of planning that goes into putting an exhibition together. As I say, you know, I've been involved in many exhibitions and trade shows, and road shows are quick. You know, when we're on the ground, we literally in one country the one day and move to another country the next day. There's a lot of ground handling that's involved as well. And our key thing in terms of the contribution to the African products as well as the international market is to make sure it's seamless on both sides and that they both have the information they need to take out of the event, that they can make sure they can continue to do business, that they can grow their business. So that is what we hope our contribution is to both sides, to the international buyers and to the African products.
No, thanks, Amanda. And I think you're also touching on like the element that Shanna and Irene mentioned around targeted. Everything that we're doing is targeted, thought out in terms of what it is, what is the market that you're wanting to go into, and also then the value of the trade show is the in-market experience, which we take for granted because not, like you say, not every single country is exactly the same across the continent or the world, really. And so a trade show gives that additional benefit of going and understanding the experience in the market. And then the right person needs to be at that trade show floor.
Your quantity over quality for me is always key. And a lot of people don't understand that. I would rather see 6 people and let them be the right people than see 60 and waste my time all day talking to the wrong people. And that is something that's it's a skill that people learn over time, because they would far rather talk to a lot of people and say, sure, I was so busy, I had a great day. But over time, you soon realize that the quality of who you're seeing actually makes a huge difference in terms of your your investment.
And it is an investment, the participating in a trade show. No, thanks, Amanda. Damaris, just in terms of your lessons, learnings at the expo, and particularly around, we all here now planning towards 2025. What are some of the things that we need to be thinking, or from your perspective, from your learnings, some of the things that you've learned from the show that we need to be considering in terms of marketing, public relations? You on mute?
Yes, I have unmuted. In terms of Shana talks about that everybody is now in social media. Everybody is trying as much as possible to market themselves. So you find that we have a lot of content in the social media that is similar to the other. So what is important right now is, how do you stand out? What is that extra mile that you're taking to offer something that is different from the other company that is still in the same industry with you? And in my own view, how can you go that extra mile? It is number one, what ways are you marketing yourself to offer those exclusive encounters? What is the difference between you and that other industry that is a lot of someone talks about the advantages of AI, but you're finding that it is also making people lazy. People just go copy paste or just tell AI, develop this for me. But the other competitor will also do the same, develop, and they will get the same content. So you still have to invoke your creativity, your innovation to bring out that extra mile. And one thing I think that most of the stakeholders are not thinking about is that is also a very powerful marketing tool, is thinking of strategy of supplier management, because these are the people that are having direct contact with your company, and you need to have good reputation. And the best way you can get to this point is coming up with strategies that supplier management strategies that will be that now will differentiate you from the other players in the industry, so that people now can get to these exclusive encounters, so that you can get these ratings online. Thank you.
No, thank you, Damaris. Now wrapping up this session, because we've run out of time. Just to close, Amanda. Also, 2025, because we are planning, and I think I'll bring the rest of the panel into this one. The 2025 sounds like some year that we should be flying or something with AI. It's just sounding, but 2025, what in terms of budgets, we're budgeting, we're planning, like you said earlier, people have planned the whole year for next year, some of them, in terms of marketing. What are some of the things that you think we should be incorporating or thinking, particularly around trade shows? Give us your thoughts, and maybe I'll bring in the rest of the panel as well to just give us your 60 seconds of just 2025. What are some of the things we need to be incorporating into our budgets? Starting with you, Amanda.
Oh, wow. Look, I know we spoke about challenges and, around the trade shows, what are those challenges? And I think one of the things is there's a lot more opportunities for collaboration, amongst products and clients that we can benefit in terms of marketing Africa as a continent, as opposed to trying to market each of us individually by country. I think we've got a bigger footprint as a continent. I think, your tourism boards obviously have their mandate in terms of their specific tourism boards, but I think there are big opportunities to focus on Africa as a continent, and by positioning themselves as a collaborative effort, you will get a lot more of the international footprint than we're getting now. I think, Tanzania did a fantastic job during COVID, and they've taken a big chunk of the pie out of the travelers coming down to Southern Africa. I think Kenya and Uganda are feeling it as well. But, individually, the countries work really, really well, and together they can market themselves much stronger. You've got Seychelles tourism popping out of the woodworks, doing amazing stuff. Sierra Leone, there isn't enough of a footprint coming out of West Africa. And I was really pleased to see that you had some of your colleagues from West Africa joining us today. You know, there's a need for West Africa. And I think especially coming out of the American market, we're leaving it up to the local West Africans in the US to market the country, because there isn't enough of the coverage going directly to the US to actually market West Africa. So yeah, my thought process is really collaboration is key. I think to focus on competition as opposed to competition, we can get a bigger piece of the pie. I think there's a huge element of buyer and exhibitor fatigue that we need to really think about. You know, people think it's really easy to organize a trade show and it looks like you make a lot of money. So let's quickly whip up a trade show. And then you end up with all these rats and mice and people trying to spread their budgets. And things don't work, and it affects all of us. You know, I really hate it when people say, oh, well, the show didn't work. That's great. Your show will be fantastic. I want to die, because I don't want other people's shows to be a mess. I want them to be a success, because their success is going to be our success. It's important the shows work. It's important that the exhibitors' money is valued, because otherwise they're not going to come onto the other shows. And all these other little bits and pieces that are created along the way take up everybody's budgets, and it's a lot of money. But similarly, the international buyers are limited in each of the regions. And I think we've got to be aware of that. They're not going to be traveling from January to December to come to Africa. They need to attend the events that are important for them. And obviously, there are worldwide events that we are all going to as well, where you see the same buyers. So planning is key, like well in advance. And as I say at the moment, in terms of our budgeting, we are budgeting right up until the end of 25. Our Africa Showcase calendar is already out. We are already setting the dates and venue for Essence of Africa 25. And, you know, for that alone, we partnered with ATA. And the reason we did it is they have a great footprint in terms of their association and East Africa business. We have a good footprint in terms of the Southern Africa and the international buyer elements. And by putting us together, it made a lot more sense than the two of us doing two shows in East Africa. So, you know, I really think that is key for us to follow up on that moving forward. And I think to focus on Africa as a whole and get the perception out that Africa is a country. That's important.
Africa is a continent. Yes.
Exactly.
No.
How many people think that Africa is a country? It kills
It's one country. No, thanks, Amanda. And I think, you know what, especially that leveraging, like working together, collaborating more across the continent, doing more united with different partners versus scattering our conversations, etc. So thank you for that.
Pleasure.
In terms of, I'm gonna sort of try and bring it together with all of the rest of the panel. 2025 parting shots, I think trade shows. Mkunde's got in the chat there that she's been in trade shows for several years and she's seen the relationship building that they offer uniquely. So absolutely echo that. I don't see any questions. I'm going to just allow the panel to close. Irene, I see you right next to Amanda. So you can go ahead and just give us where are we putting our budgets? What are we thinking about 2025?
I agree with Amanda. I mean, collaboration is going to be key. It's going to be that, I don't see it ever changing, quite frankly. And we are, as a continent, one. So it's important that we work together. From my parting shot is digital marketing is essential, and it's important that you do it. But remember, keep it personal, because don't lose touch with your market as well. So that's pretty much where I see it. I think that element of personalization is very important, because, it brings something of yourself into your marketing. Don't just expect the marketing to be magic. Bring something of your own into it as well. Thank you.
No, great. Thanks, Irene. Shanna, your parting shot.
So a quote that I heard during an event a few years ago was related to content and the dissemination thereof. So if content is king, distribution is King Kong. So it is really critical that you give a lot of thought and attention to the ways in which you're disseminating your message. And I think that as we, become more progressive in our ability to glean insights from the analytics that we have from our campaigns, we'll be able to shape a clearer way forward on what that needs to look like.
No, thanks, Shan. Distribution, King Kong. Damaris, your parting shot. Is she still there? Damaris, you're on mute. Okay. In the meantime, I'll go to Dave.
Thanks. Yeah, I think, you know what, keep it simple. Let's keep having these conversations, you know, based on the conversations that we were having today. We clearly are in very good company, some really experienced, highly knowledgeable people. Let's use that knowledge as a pool, and let us be Africans and learn from each other. Let us not let the rest of the world dictate what Africans can do.
No, awesome. Thanks, Dave. And the technology, let us use what we actually have in mass. Bongiwe, from your side, a parting shot, maybe an insight that you found strange, or just a comment that you'd like to make about going into 2025.
Look, I'm going to take the academic approach. I think that there's work to be done. I'm starting a path myself, in terms of finding out what AI can do for us. But let's do research on the continent, because my study revealed that we're doing a lot of developed countries are doing far more than we can, and as a continent, we are capable of so much more. Thank you.
No, thank you. Absolutely, we're capable of so much more. And that's the idea, is that we get these discussions really going, and not just to discuss, but then to use the tools, to use the connections. And so I want to thank our panel very much for being with us. So thank you, Bongiwe, thank you, David, thank you, Amanda, Irene, Shanna, Damaris, for your contributions. And really, this is a start. And the reason I wanted to make sure that, you know, your contacts, please put them into the chat, all of our speakers, because we really do want you to plug into connecting with them thereafter in the session to see how they can basically help you to leverage your brand. But then let me hand over to Aman to just close for us.
Thank you, Londi. So thank you for joining the Branding Africa Roundtable on effective marketing strategies. We look forward to you joining us for more of these in the future. And these will form part of the ongoing series. So please do be on the lookout for reminders. Thank you once again to all the speakers and participants, and have a great afternoon.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.